Good morning, my friends from around the world. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for spending some time with us. I hope you're okay today. I hope that the market isn't boring you too much. It has very good reason to bore you. So if you're remaining patient and you're keeping your capital close to your chest and avoiding this sideways action and instead spending time with your family and such, then that's really good because trust me, there's going to be a nice little move coming up that you can profit on quite nicely. So let's climb into the price action for those who just come here for that. The month cycle over here, which is the highest cycle we'll look at. Once again, the reason I call it the month cycle is because there's 4 one-week cycles in it, and it gives us the view of what the overall market is trying to tell us. We still have the scan square drawn up here. There's obviously a lot of confluence in the kill zone, and then as it's come down, it found its little safety net. If you've been keeping up with my videos, it'll make sense to you. And then it kind of wants to go along this 1/1 line, so we think. Okay, so we'll keep a close eye on that and see what happens tomorrow once the price jumps out of this symmetrical triangle and see whether or not the trend continuation is still pushing to the downside. Again, we wait for confirmation because there is a small potentiality that this could have been the turning point, and we could be seeing an up move over there and it being kind of resisted inside this inner arc. So I don't want to lose you up front, but I'm just showing that there's a decision point that the market needs to make at the moment, and we are anticipating the down, but we've got to wait for that confirmation. Now, if you've gone back to previous videos, you would have seen I drew this little arrow up well ahead of time over here. Okay, I only saw this little arrow now. I completely forgot about it, to be honest with you. So when the price was back here, let's put that in quickly. This arrow went up because we knew that the market needed to move across and then find its new travel zone, which is potentially this 1/1 towards this area over here. And it's pretty much done exactly that. So if you hit that little play button, you can see it build out, up. Oh, that was a tricky one. I just dropped down there, said nope, not yet, and then kind of got into this area. So very, very cool stuff. And now we can see it migrating as per this 1/1 line on the Gantt square. So very magical stuff. I hope you see the power in this because, man, let me just tell you, I've spent like the last many years, the 4 years, suffering all the information that didn't work to find the information that does work. And as you can see, what we've got here is pretty powerful. It's working out more often than not. When I say more often than not, I'm being modest. Like, this stuff is working out. It's outstanding. And the reason why we're here is because we were on the field and we're taking the hard knocks. And I've been in the trenches. I've made losses. I've gone through the whole segment like many of you have. And I stuck with it and stuck with it and stuck with it and stuck with it and stuck with it. And I got rid of all the information that I've been fed by others that just created losses for me. Some guys keep coming to me about Elliot Waves, for example. Other guys are coming to me with like all these bogus ideas, and I asked them like, hey, okay, cool, I've been there and done that and I've seen why it doesn't work, but can you please tell me, in your experience, the rationale, the reasoning behind why what you use works? Like, I can tell you verbatim the reasoning behind every single one of my tools that I use. Okay, I understand where it's come from its creation state and where it is now, and I'm happy to support every tool that I use with backed up reasoning. But when I ask someone, why are you using RSI, and all they can say is because it indicates a little bit of what trend is doing, and I say, okay, cool, I'm glad that that's the case, but how are you going to guarantee that what's going to happen next will transpire given the RSI, which is taking current data and past data, and it's just simply plotting it down in front of you? So what an RSI does is it basically smooths out price action, and it kind of shows you what price action would be looking like if it was smoothed out. Okay, and there's no guarantee that because there's an overbought move. Okay, let's have a look here at this indicator, for example. There's no guarantee that because there is an overbought switch at the top here, that you're going to see this price go down to an oversold nice and deep, and then go up to an overbought nice and deep, So there's no guarantee that that's going to happen on itself, okay, by itself. And guys who are heavily weighted and using RSI for their information to base their decisions upon with regards to trading, they're just they're leaving their capital up to chance is what I'm trying to get to. So over here, yes, we do have a oscillator, but the oscillator is just a tenth of our decision making that goes into each trade. It's a bit of extra information. We don't actually use it to forecast. We use it for turning points confirmation. Just by the way, like we'll wait to see if there's a switch here, and then we can see it's correspond with that over there. And then we go along just to see whether or not the confirmation of the previous turning points has been locked in, so we can forecast the next turning points responsibly. So what I'm trying to say is that, guys, I also want to take my hat off to everyone here who is on the field and has been upskilling themselves and really getting into that stride of self-empowerment and standing on the field and running the field and being in it, rather than kind of sitting on the sidelines and just watching in and having like spectator comments, like whatever that side chirp stuff that doesn't really have any value because they're not on the field. So everyone who wants to run the field and take control of their financial future and be able to work the markets to their favor and that kind of thing, like, again, well done for doing so. You know how difficult it can be. There's a lot of surprises in crypto, especially with a digital currency that is mined on computer nodes around the world. I mean, it's just crazy what we're working with here. I mean, we're making a lot of money from it, but if you look at the concept, it's absolutely crazy. So congratulations to everyone who's on the field. And I love what you guys are doing, because I mean, I've done it too. And it's good to have you guys around. So let's get back into what we're looking at here very quick. So we're working with the sideways price action, okay? So what happens in certain markets is there is a symmetrical triangle that may pop up. Okay, I just want to show you the opposite end of that if it goes through. So where's my new crew? Da, 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 da. Okay, so you got two options. That's an expanding triangle, and that's a symmetrical triangle. Basically what it is lower highs and lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, forming after one another. And the reason that happens is because price is trying to get to a certain point, but doesn't have the energy in the now moment to act upon it. We're working with two things here, guys. We're working with price, we're working with time. As important as price is, so is time. And there are time obligations that need to be fulfilled in the market, and the market absolutely respects that. So when it comes to this extreme market move, one after another, so boom, big move, boom, big move, there is a certain amount of energy expended in the market, and it needs to cool off. So right now, that's doing exactly that. So as it cools off, it's going to form the higher low, lower high, higher low, probably a lower high over here, maybe a little bit more. Bouncy action, we'll see what happens to come, and then boom, into the next direction. Now, some guys think that a symmetrical triangle offers a trend continuation. Trust me, from my experience, this is what I'm talking about, being in the field and not spectating from the outside. And my experience is not always the case. We use our higher frames to anticipate where the break will be. Right now, we've still seeing that it could pretty much go down, but that's not a guarantee, which is the reason why we're not in a trade right now. It could break to the upside out of this triangle. We'll have to see what happens on Monday. So for those reasons, don't trust everything you read on the internet. If you read this to be a continuation pattern, that might be from some person who still is learning trading. Okay, you got to trust the right sources, and you got to trust the guys who have gone in this fully and make this their own. Like, for example, not to talk about myself like that, but I've been doing trading for the last 4 years. I've seen it all. I've done it all. And this is not to challenge anyone to be like, oh my gosh, prove it, blah, blah, blah. I'm just telling you right now, I've been on the field for the last 4 years. This has been my sole income. I've traveled the world. I've supported my family. We've done and seen some wonderful things just by trading Bitcoin. So I know what it all looks like. And I can sit here from experience to say a symmetrical triangle is and does this. And the other guys who are kind of escaping their lives and escaping their day jobs and kind of trolling, trading view comments and that kind of thing, just haven't got those experience hours behind them. And man, like, if that is you, like, I really encourage you to get onto the field and build yourself up, build up your experience hours again, and do the self-empowerment journey rather than ask for free signals and chirp from the sidelines. Okay, so let's move on from there. Anyway, so right now that's what we're seeing, and this is what's happening. And for those reasons, again, I can explain as to why it's happening, and not just be like, all right, the internet says that this is what that does. There's reasoning behind it. So that pretty much covers up the market update for today. Is there anything else that I wanted to cover? No, that's pretty much it. Whilst we have a few more minutes together, let me just kind of divulge into the other patterns that guys keep on throwing around. Again, like, so we've heard a lot about this Elliot waves in the comments and that kind of thing, and I urge you to really give us the validation as to why the Elliot waves may look like they work. Okay, so my interpretation of an Elliot wave, which I absolutely don't believe in, I believe in what we work with over here, is that you got to count to 5, and then there'll be something that happens next or whatever. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, or whatever the case may be. But you go like, all right, cool, that sounds fun. But which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Which 1, 2, 3? How are you eliminating the blimps? Okay, what is a 1? Is that a 1, and that a 2, and that a 3, and that a 4? Or is that a 1, that a 2, and that a 3? So I don't know where you guys think that you're going to get somewhere with that information from, but I urge you to really look into the stuff that you're learning to make sure that you know the reasoning why it does or doesn't work. And for me, I can tell you right now, I've worked with Elliot Waves before, and I don't see consistent bankable results. I wouldn't go to the National Bank and say, hey guys, I'm working with Elliot Waves, could I get a loan? Not that they'll give it to you anyway, because no bank wants to loan money to guys on the stock markets. But that's not something I would take to the bank, metaphorically speaking. Whereas here, again, I can tell you my idea as to why the price swings between these numbers. Like, as I've said before, GAN has done a lot of great work for us. I don't know if this is going to take longer than it needs to. If it does, then we'll move on. Trust Windows too nice and slow. Oh, there we go, Windows. All right, so like I said, when price moves, it moves between the support and resistance along these cardinal and ordinal lines over here. And when there's a planetary influence in the price action, it sometimes magnetizes the price to that point, or it gets pushed off and bounced beyond these aspect ratios between the planets. Now, if you're not someone who believes in this kind of stuff, then that's okay for you. But for the guys who've worked with this, the guys who've been on the field and sat with this, they will see for themselves, by experience, how mystical and magic and mind-blowing this all is, because they themselves have witnessed how what I've just said is absolutely on point. So again, when you go to the internet and you hear things like ascending triangles, or you see like falling wedges, or the death cross, like, those guys might just be identifying what the GAN square is actually laying out. Okay, so like over here, I mean, if you had to kind of push it, you can say yes, but if you look at your charts online, blah 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 blah, and all the things, you'll see that this is a rising wedge or rising triangle. I don't work with them anymore because I think they're so full of nonsense. But evidently, guys, it's price fulfilling the sacred geometrical shape within the GAN square. Okay, so you can find out any pattern you wish inside all of this and give it a name. You can make up any rationale, and you can say, oh, there's a barked pattern, or there's a head and shoulders, and that kind of thing. Like, guys, if you think about the head and shoulders, I mean, I haven't even prepared for this, but if you have a look over here, we can easily put a head and shoulders over there. But is it a head and shoulders, or is it price just testing the kill zone to find its travel arc before it moves down? Okay, so I mean, so many people have released books and tutorials and webinars and paid courses and all the rest of it to teach this kind of stuff, but it's incomplete. They see what they see, and they can add whatever logic to it if they choose to, but they don't really see the truth behind the market. They don't really see the reasoning why it happens. Okay, I can tell you right now that head and shoulders is not a real thing. What we're looking at over here is price and time obligated to fulfill a certain journey, because that's where markets turn around. Markets pivot and reverse where price and time square off. And I've literally got the mathematical equation that gives us the information as to where that happens, okay? So on that note, actually come to think of it, no, let's get back to what we were talking about. Okay, so over here, this is not a head and shoulders to us, all right? It can be if you want it to be, but it's not to us. Over here, it's price going, all right, cool. It's not ready to take this ride down over the 1/4 line. Okay, it's not ready to go down this 1/2 line. Okay, we got to check the 1/1, and we're going to check the 2/1. Okay, so it says, all right, cool. From a time perspective, the price and time squaring is not going to work out over here. From a price and time squaring perspective, it's not going to work out over here. Blah 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 blah. And so it says, okay, cool. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, cool. I'm not going to push up that side, so it is definitely going to go down. Let's just kind of go along the resistance line. Boom, big move. And then as we predicted, this is probably going to happen next. Okay, so that's where all of these other things come from. It's this. This is the foundation to the rest. And I don't know, you can believe it or not believe it. If you don't believe it, then keep to your style of trading. But I can tell you, after the 4 years of experience, which is like 40 years of experience, anyone's been in crypto, you know that 1 week's a long time in crypto. So I've done this for 40 years, but 4 years, every single day. It's been my sole source of income. I support my family through it. Again, traveled the world through it. So I'm walking the walk to tell you right now. I've tried and tested all that other stuff you guys, some guys might be talking about. It hasn't shown consistent results. And then I found out this information, which now has provided those consistent results, and also has provided the self-control of ourselves as to not rush into a market, to know when to hang back. For example, now with this, whilst it's going sideways and waiting for confirmation of trend, and also to, when we do go in, to maximize our capital expansion, because we're getting at the right place, our stop losses are the right place, and we are not selling out too early. We're riding that full target length to get to where the maximum return can be on those legs. And the reason is because we've got the strategy that applies to all those circumstances. So that's today's market update. Thank you for keeping up with me. I know that I kind of go all over the show, but when you've got as many battle scars as I do in this arena, there's just so much information that's available at any one point, and I just want to try and get as much as I can out to you in these videos. All right, have a fantastic day further. Thanks again for your attention, and I can't wait to hang out with you again tomorrow. Ciao for now.